Hello. As you may know, in addition to being a world famous YouTuber, I'm a teacher. But the other day, a student left a kind graffiti on my whiteboard, mon tableau in French. It said, "Yes, King." And that touched my heart. Even though I am a humble servant teacher, he considers me royalty. Beautiful. Thank you, graffiti student. But it's not easy being king. You might think all you have to do is just sit there and wear a crown, but oh no, there's much more to it. This we will see today in our poem from Charles Baudelaire, 1821 to 1867. It's about a king, but it's not called king, it's called spleen. Ew! What is a spleen? The spleen is an organ. Right up here, up in there somewhere, behind the stomach, spleen. Baudelaire wrote 4 poems called Spleen. We will see why by the end of this poem. Baudelaire. Sometimes he wants to scare you. Sometimes he wants to gross you out. Sometimes he wants to wake you up. This one rhymes in French, but not in English. I will start with a Belden English translation. Spleen. I am like the king of a rainy country, rich but powerless, young and yet very old, who, scorning the bows of his tutors, is bored, with his dogs as with other animals. Nothing can cheer him, neither game nor falcon, nor his people dying on the other side of the balcony. From his favorite jester, the sick song no longer lights up the face of this cruel sick guy. His bed, decorated with fleur-de-lis flowers, transforms into a tomb. And the ladies around him, for whom every prince is beautiful, no longer know how to find a scandalous costume to draw a smile from this young skeleton. The alchemist, who made his gold, was never able to root out the corrupted element from his being. And in these bloodbaths, which come down to us from the Romans, and which the powerful remember in their old age, he was unable to warm this dazed corpse, where instead of blood flows the green water of Lethe. So, you tell me, upon first hearing, does it sound like this king is having a good time or a bad time? Point to some evidence from the poem in your answer. Yes, that's right. Right from the start, you can see that he's not having a good time, even though he's a king. Je suis comme le roi. He is like a king. But it's a rainy country. Riche, mais impuissant. He's rich, but he has no power. He's young, but already like an old man. It doesn't sound great. Then consider his activities. They did not have public school back then, I think. So, whatever he wants to learn, he has tutors to come and teach him. And even though they bowed to him, he doesn't care. Bored at school. What about his hobbies? S'ennuie avec ses chiens. Bored with his own dogs. Okay. But what about if he had a more exciting pet, like a falcon, and train that falcon to fly out and hunt other stuff? That's pretty cool, right? Rien ne peut l'égayer, ni gibier, ni faucon. Nope. The king doesn't care about the falcon or any mice or squirrel that it could kill. This guy is really hard to please. So it gets drastic. Ni son peuple mourant en face du balcon. Not even his own people dying on the other side of the balcony. Kings rule over their people, but what a shame if he would use their pain for his own entertainment. That's a pretty sick way to be entertained, but he's desperate. Number 2, it may seem dangerous, but let's try to relate. Do you have a lot of fun options around you, and yet you're still bored? You've got your games, your siblings, your friends, your pets, but you still get bored. Why do you think this happens? So, he gets bored, but he's got 2 buddies that might be able to help, a jester and an alchemist. We will look at both. First, the jester. In French it says, Du bouffon favori, la grotesque balade ne distrait plus le front de ce cruel malade. A jester is a clown. If you are a king, you get your own personal clown who's there to entertain you at all times. But it doesn't work. No matter what joke this jester tells or song he sings, the king is a cruel malade, a cruel, sick guy. So, he's getting off the throne and going to sleep. Son lit fleur d'Elysée se transforme en tombeau. The king has a fancy bed, but it's like a tomb. Tombeau, tomb. And the king is like a skeleton inside of it. He's so bored, he has turned into a skeleton. What a tragedy. Answer me this. Number 3, why wasn't the jester able to help the king? The jester couldn't help. Next up, the scientist. An alchemist was a guy a long time ago who tried to turn stuff into gold. He's like a magician / scientist, an alchemist. Will he do the trick? Let's see. Le savant qui lui fait de l'or n'a jamais pu de son être extirper l'élément corrompu. Imagine the alchemist was one day able to turn metal into gold. He'd be rich, a success. But then, when they ask him to fix the king, he can't. He can't do it. He can transform stuff into gold, but he can't transform this king. There is some élément corrompu, a corrupted element that he can't pull out of the king. Something on the inside is wrong. Number 4, what do you think is wrong on the inside of the king? Yep, the king is stuck. He's been called a cruel, sick guy. He's been called a skeleton who can't smile. He's got some corrupted element on the inside that they can't get out. A tooth cavity the dentist can take out. A rabbit out of a hat a magician can pull out. But this king, he's so bored that they can't get anything out of him. Number 5, how do you explain someone having so much and being so unhappy? Okay, the scariest description comes here at the end. In French, il n'a su réchauffer ce cadavre hébété où coule au lieu du sang l'eau verte du lait. The king is cold, like a dazed zombie that they can't warm up. He doesn't have blood on the inside. He has this green water called lethe. Lethe. What is lethe? When you studied ancient Greece, you heard that they imagined the underworld as a place with rivers. One of the rivers had this water that would make you forget your previous life. The problem here is that the king already has that water in his veins. He's not in the underworld, he's in the world, but he's already got that underworld forgetting water in his veins. Oh, it's just so tragic. I apologize for how sad it is. There's got to be something someone can do. You're up. Number 6, what is the solution? Suppose they bring you in. The jester couldn't help. The alchemist couldn't help. so they call you. What would you say or do to help the king? Use your imagination. I'll go first. Here's mine. I would leave the king a graffiti message on his whiteboard. It would say, "Get connected, give life." The king, he has forgotten his kingly duties. It's not just all about being entertained, sitting on the throne, waiting for people to do stuff for you. He's forgotten that being a king is about ruling and doing things for others. Look at his buddies, the jester and the alchemist. They are working hard and are not bored. They have something to give to others. Even if they're not rich, they're alive. So I think if the king could get back to serving instead of sitting, he'd start coming back to life. We can come back to life as well. Instead of sitting and waiting to be served, why not try the opposite? Be a jester. Entertain others. Act in a play a sport, play music, cook a meal, write a story, teach a class, make a YouTube channel, invent a medicine, or even tell a joke at an appropriate time, such as encouraging graffiti on the whiteboard, the tableau. Just some ideas there, but maybe you can think of something even better or different. Number 7, how can you avoid becoming like this bored, frozen king? Okay, I look forward to hearing what you have to say. To wrap up here, Baudelaire, he wrote 4 poems called Spleen, right? He's got 100 poems that go in The Flowers of Evil, but 4 of them are called Spleen, because that's how he felt even in 1850, bored, like a gross organ. I don't know if it's fair to call it gross, but it's an organ trapped on the inside. That's how he felt. That's how others felt, trapped and bored, no matter how rich everybody was getting. The kings might have been gone at that time, but bad news, everybody had actually turned into a king, just looking to sit there and be entertained. It doesn't have to be like that. We can get up and get the blood pumping, even all the way through our spleen. That's Spleen number 3 by Charles Baudelaire. Until next time, à plus.